Alcohol and cancer. New interesting paper just published September 2021 on Lancet Oncology is about the global burden of cancer in 2020, and is a population-based study using Prof that has been calculated using a theoretical minimum risk exposure of lifetime abstention and 2010 alcohol consumption estimates. They calculated the contribution of moderate, risky, and heavy drinking to total alcohol attributable cancer burden. How they define moderate? The definition of moderate, let me see if I can open this one. Okay, here. Is basically based on the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. The definition of moderate is basically less than 20 grams. So 14 grams of pure alcohol is the equivalent of 1.5 ounces or 44 ml of distilled spirits like whiskey or other super alcoholics beverages, or 5 ounces or 150 ml of wine, approximately 12% alcohol by volume, or 12 ounces or 350 ml of regular beer, approximately 5% of alcohol by volume. So this is, around 15 grams, and moderate is less than 20 grams. Okay, now let's look at the data very quickly. The findings are that globally, around 4% of all new cases of cancer in 2020 were due to alcohol consumption. The most common type of cancers associated with alcohol consumption are the esophageal, liver, and breast in women. Now, let me look at the distribution globally. So let's look at here. As you can see here, for males, the risky drinking is the population attributable fraction percentage is Eastern Asia, Central Eastern Europe, and South Central Asia, Southern Africa, and Western Europe are for males the countries with the highest instead of the lowest. Risk is in North Africa, Western Asia, Micronesia, Polynesia. And for females, that of the highest is in Central and Eastern Europe, Western Europe, and Australia, New Zealand, and Northern Europe. Here is a different way to look at the same data. As you can see here, this is for males in dark blue. This is a 6 to 8% of cases attributable to alcohol consumption of cancers. In blue, you see the one for males, the high risk, and this is for females. You see the dark blue are the countries where the percentage of cases attributable to alcohol in females it's very high. Okay, so just to summarize, globally, 4.1% of all new cases of cancer in 2020 were due to alcohol consumption. About 3/4 of these alcohol attributable cancer cases were in males. The most common were esophageal, liver, and breast in females. Northern Africa and Western Asia had the lowest risk and the highest among males, and Eastern Asia and Central Eastern Europe. And for females is Eastern Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and Western Europe, where the consumption of alcohol in females is very high. So the risky and heavy drinking contributed most of the burden of alcohol attributable cancers. However, even moderate drinking still contributed 1 in 7 alcohol attributable cases and more than 100,000 cancer cases worldwide. So for cancer, there isn't a low limit. So alcohol is not healthy, and it does increase the risk of cancer even in moderate amounts. So it is better not to consume alcohol regularly every single day, but occasionally it's safer. And the reason is that there are several reasons why alcohol it does increase the risk of cancer. And we know that ethanol can lead to cancer development, including DNA, protein, and lipid alteration or damage, because it's not ethanol itself, but is the metabolite of ethanol, the acetaldehyde, that is a carcinogenic metabolite of ethanol. And then alcohol is also increasing oxidative stress and is altering the regulation of sex hormones like estrogens and testosterone that are promoting cancer. And then ethanol may also promote cancer development indirectly by acting as a solvent for other carcinogenic agents, such as chemicals in tobacco or other chemicals. And we know that especially certain population who have mutations of the aldehyde dehydrogenases 2 enzymes are at particular high risk of cancer, because they have a higher transformation of ethanol into acetaldehyde. And so this is basically the summary of this interesting paper. The data of this Lancet Oncology paper are in line with the statement of the American Society of Clinical Oncology about alcohol and cancer. Has been published in 2018 in the Journal of Clinical Oncology, that I suggest you to read because it's pretty comprehensive, and it stresses the importance of alcohol drinking as a contributor factor to overall cancer burden that is often underappreciated. So people that don't understand that alcohol is a powerful risk factor for cancer. It's like smoking. It doesn't kill you immediately. It takes many, many years of smoking for the toxic compounds in the cigarettes to cause lung cancer, chronic inflammation of the lungs, leading to chronic bronchitis and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and cardiovascular disease and cancer of the bladder, because it takes many, many years. Similarly, it's not because you drink one glass of wine or a whiskey once in a while that you're gonna have problems, but it's this constant consumption of alcohol that is causal. So there is a cause-effect association with many cancer, in particularly the oropharyngeal, the larynx, the esophageal, so the liver hepatocellular carcinoma, breast cancer. There is a clear connection in women, and colon cancer. And the data are strongly suggesting that even modest use of alcohol may increase cancer risk. Of course, the greater risk has been observed in heavy and long-term users. One of the problems is that population surveys demonstrate that 12 to 14% of adults have a current alcohol use disorder, and that 29% have had such a disorder at some point in their lifetime. Now, again, as I said, the definition of alcohol use disorder comprises the modest regular drinking, but then there is the excessive drinking that includes binge drinking, defined as 4 or more drinks during a single occasion for women, or 5 or more drinks during a single occasion for men. Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive drinking compared with heavy drinking, which is again defined as 8 or more drinks per week, or 3 or more drinks per day for women, and as 15 or more drinks per week, or 4 or more drinks per day for men. Again, moderate drinking is defined up to 1 drink per day for women and up to 2 drinks per day for men. It's important to point out that alcohol use during childhood and adolescence is a predictor of increased risk of alcohol use disorder as an adult. So it's better not to drink during the teenage period, because college and younger people who drink are prone to develop an alcohol use disorder later in life. Again, I just told you what are the most common cancers. You can see here, compared with non-drinkers, the relative risk for heavy drinkers range from 1.44% increase to 5 times increase for oral cavity and pharynx, and is 60% higher for breast cancer, 2 times higher for liver, 2.65 higher for larynx, and almost 5 times higher for esophageal cancer. Remember that it takes many, many years of stopping alcohol consumption, of cessation of alcohol consumption, before the risk goes back to normal. There are solid data for the upper gastrointestinal tract cancer, less so for other cancers. Another important concept, is important to stress, is that smoking and alcohol consumption have synergistic interactions, and therefore the two bad behaviors are interacting in increasing the risk of several cancers, in particular oral cavity and pharynx, esophageal, larynx, liver, female breast, and colorectal. As you can see here, compared to non-drinkers, light drinkers have a relative risk of between 13% and 26% of developing. So for moderate drinkers, the risk is much higher, and for heavy drinks, even more so. And just to summarize again, the alcohol is toxic because of biochemical reactions that are catalyzed by 2 enzymes, the alcohol dehydrogenases and the aldehyde dehydrogenases, that they transform ethanol into acetaldehyde and then acetate. Because ethanol per se is not mutagenic, but this metabolite, acetaldehyde, is carcinogenic and mutagenic, because it binds to DNA and protein, and it causes damage to these molecules. And there are several studies that are clearly showing that this molecule, this metabolite of ethanol, is toxic and carcinogenic. Other mechanisms, as I said before, that are linking alcohol consumption and cancer is oxidative stress and sex hormones, folate metabolites, and DNA methylation. Alcohol is inducing also stress via several enzymatic pathways. The most important one is the CYP2E1 that causes chronic tissue inflammation. And then, as I said before, drinking alcohol is also increasing the bioavailability of androgens and estrogens that are well-known hormones that are promoting cell proliferation, genomic instability, and many other alterations of the cell cycle that are promoting cancer development. Especially in breast cancer and endometrial cancer. Okay, so I hope you have understood the complexity, but also the data clearly showing how alcohol consumption is not good for health, especially for cancer, and that regular alcohol consumption should not be part of a healthy lifestyle. It's better not to drink, but if people want to enjoy occasionally, not every day, some alcohol, it is okay. But you have to bear in mind that there are very well-defined mechanisms that are transforming ethanol and other compounds in alcohol into genotoxic and carcinogenic substances and processes. Thank you for listening. As always,